Mike Ashworth, you're the chair of the Transport Board from ADEPT. You painted a very challenging picture in your presentation at the CIHT conference just now. There's a lot of focus on the national delivery of highways. Is that a detriment to the local roads network?
Not at all. I think that, a good example would be HS2, a national project, a very ambitious national project, and, in my view, a very much needed national project. And within that national project, there'll be some very good local benefits. For example, a local station, and all the regeneration opportunities around it. My position is that I think it's good that the government invested in national projects, but there is a disparity. And I think, and the process seems to be that I would argue there ought to be more money coming into the local frameworks, maybe with a more measured approach to some of the funding, either through the LEPs or through the subnational transport bodies.
Because this I suppose lack of money that flows into the local authorities for their highways networks, it's been around for a long while. I mean, certainly ADEPT's been making a lot of noise about it for decades, it seems. I mean, do you see a solution coming with the work going on around setting up a new regional highway network?
I think it provides an opportunity to deliver projects that have been too hard to do in the past. A good example of that might well be rail franchising, taking on the responsibilities of managing what rail networks are provided and the frequencies in the area, and also smart ticketing. It's sometimes too big for a local authority or a combined authority to deliver. So I think there are some real opportunities for that. I think the issue for me is that amongst all of that, there needs to be a recognition that we need to maintain what we've got in good condition and manage it well.
Right.
And the resources, and this is the revenue resources, are being absolutely stretched to the limit.
Right.
And that's my problem.
Yeah, because at the moment there's a huge focus on capital expenditure.
Yes.
When your challenges around operating.
Yes, absolutely, and not just an example. You can't use capital to salt the roads to prevent snow from creating problems. You can't use capital to clean the gullies to make the resilience of your network.
Yeah.
And you can't use capital to provide staff resources, money to staff to pay them to develop some of the projects that are going to end up being capital projects.
So you and all your colleagues, you know that the world of TOTEX, whole life value, is the most sensible way to go. How do you get there?
I think it's a difficult question because the Treasury have got some fixed rules about capital expenditure and resource expenditure, and never the two seem to meet. I would argue that with the budgets that I've had to reduce over the last 5-6 years, the amount of capital at the moment isn't replacing where we were 5 years ago. So there are some real issues about revenue reductions, and how can I argue against the pressures on social care budgets of the local authorities compared to some other the services that I might provide? It's just that the social value of all of this is getting a bit lost. So I would argue that overall there is less money in the pot, the revenue is the real pressure.
Right. So when we hear a lot of conversations today around addressing customer needs and addressing what customers want, I mean, it's a very interesting discussion, but in the reality of your world, is it relevant, I suppose?
Well, the customers that I deal with are regular highway users.
Yeah.
They want a network that hasn't got potholes in it. They want a relatively free journey and reliable journey into work. They want to be able to jump on a bus that's been there for years, and maybe that bus might have been supported by ourselves, or it could be a commercial, but they just want reliability. They want some degree of levelness on the way in which these things are. The trouble is, the challenging picture is some of that infrastructure, some of those provisions are put under a massive pressure.
Right. To finish on a positive note, I suppose we are at least now seeing, we're hearing and witnessing a real drive or understanding by central government, understanding that investment in infrastructure does actually reap economic rewards.
Yeah.
And does that transfer itself into your world of
yes,
local
it does.
authorities?
I mean, just my examples of what we've delivered in the world of the local growth funds. There's a lot of transport projects in that. There's a lot of recognition that transport underpins all of the growth and housing that is needed to be delivered. And I think there's it's not news, but it's just that understanding that there is all that underpins the social value of transport is massive.
Yeah.
So, as a quick example, taking money away from community transport and having to worry about those elderly people who can't use mainstream transport could put a burden on the social care budgets. So it's just the interrelationship of it all, the social value of transport, and I think the government are recognising that.
Interesting and very challenging questions for the future, but thanks for joining us and kicking them
You're
off
welcome.
here. Thanks, Mike.
All right, you know.